Hey there, my dear friends. This is Carrie Konyha bringing you the Waning Moon episode of Collective Awakening Weekly. This is a weekly energy update and activation to support our collective journeys in spiritual awakening, healing, and empowerment. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at the astrological highlights that are happening this week and the dates ranging from January 25th, 2022 through February 1st, 2022. And of course, as always, I'm going to be sharing some additional channeled messages that come through in alignment with these energies. And we're going to take a peek to see what additional sacred wisdom teachings want to come through the tarot cards today. First, I'm going to talk about the energy of the last quarter moon, the waning moon that's happening today as I'm recording this, January 25th, which is happening in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio energy is connected to all things having to do with inner depth. This impacts us on an emotional level, things having to do with our unconscious self, and then our intuition as well. So the energy around the waning moon that's occurring today is sort of flavoring what we can expect to experience throughout this next week. And being in the sign of Scorpio, we can expect to feel more deeply connected to our emotional selves, also feeling a little bit more sensitive intuitively as well. And we have an opportunity to do some shadow work healing. Anytime we have strong Scorpio influences astrologically, it brings in an opportunity to do shadow work. So our shadow sides are the parts of us that we have unintentionally or unconsciously rejected, denied, or disowned. And these aspects of ourselves is what is described as our shadow side. Oftentimes they are either connected to original traumas and wounds, or they can actually lead to traumas and wounds due to the fact that these are aspects of ourselves that are not integrated. Now, when you combine this with the fact that we have a lot of astrological conjunctions happening with the planet Pluto, with our personal planets, which are the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, we can actually expect that the next few months are going to be highly transformative. We have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of spiritual alchemy work, taking those shadow aspects and bringing them into the light, bringing them into healing, awareness, which leads to integration. So this is the beauty of the transformative energies that are happening right now, and they are perfectly suited for supporting this energetic theme of spiritual awakening that we have going on really throughout the entire year this year, 2022, and even into 2023. I've been talking about this in some of my other videos. It's connected to Jupiter coming into Pisces, joining Neptune, which is already in Pisces, magnifying and bringing expansion to all things having to do with our intuition, our creativity, our spiritual awareness. Awareness is having to do with our bigger picture dreams, things of that nature. So anyway, the energies that are happening this week give us an opportunity to have another layer of purging, cleansing, surrendering, healing, and clearing with this last quarter moon happening in the sign of Scorpio, because Pluto rules Scorpio. So the energies go hand in hand and are very mutually intersupportive of one another. Now, the challenge energies that are happening this week are connected to the fact that we have this sort of push-pull energy happening. We've got Mars in the sign of Capricorn now, which gives us a diligent drive and motivation in alignment with what our highest ambitions are. And we have the sun transiting through the sign of Aquarius. Now we're officially in Aquarius season. And when the sun moves through the sign of Aquarius, it ignites an inspiration in all of us to be a little bit more exuberant in our self-expression. We want to reach out and connect with all that's going on in the world. So we've got some energies that are compelling us outwardly, almost coming out of our winter hibernation a little bit on that first layer. However, we still have Venus and Mercury in retrograde. which brings us inward. Again, when planets are retrograde, they appear to be moving backwards in space from the perspective of Earth. They're not literally moving backward in space. It just looks that way from our perspective. It's a time to reflect, reevaluate, and reassess. So the best way that we can work with these energies is on the inner planes right now. We're going to more than likely feel a little bit of a sense of angst because some of these astrological aspects are influencing us in ways where we want to we're ready to pounce into action in the world right now. But the retrograde energies are saying, not yet, there's still some inner work to do. And so what we can do is prepare ourselves on all levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, creating an optimized inner environment, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, that ultimately will set the space for more aligned action taking around the corner. The good thing is that Venus finally goes direct on January 29th and Mercury goes direct on February 3rd. Now, we always have a little bit of a time period before a retrograde and after a retrograde where we're still sort of adjusting into the direct oriented energies, and we want to give that like at least a week to 10 days. So what we can say is that by mid-February, although we still have Pluto making conjunctions with our personal planets, there is going to be a burst of refreshing forward movement energy available to us by mid-February. Psychically speaking, my take on this energy is that this is a really good opportunity to practice mindfulness, to practice patience, to utilize what might feel to many of us as being on hold or in a little bit of a waiting period. The best way for us to utilize this energy, again, is through inwardly optimizing our own vibrations. So it's not only about preparing as far as making plans and strategies and things like that. That is a part of the Mercury retrograde energy, but it's also about clearing away any energy, any old energy that's not aligned or supporting the direction that we're going. So again, this is where we can have deep emotional healing, purging, clearing, releasing, cord cutting, and things like that. And again, the last quarter moon phase that we're in right now is the best time each month to do any type of releasing, purging, and clearing work. The energy of the waning moon is an energy of an energy of release, an energy of surrender, an energy of letting go. And ultimately, it's building up to the next new moon, which is going to be in Aquarius on January 31st. So one interesting thing is, in accordance to our calendar month, this month, we have 2 new moons. Anytime we have 2 new moons within a calendar month, which only happens every few years, it still is a time of setting new intentions and things like that, but gives us a little bit more of an energy boost in the direction of personal growth, spiritual awareness, and deepening of intuition. So all that we're letting go now this week is actually going to be setting the space for a little bit of a supercharged new moon next week. With that, let's go ahead and see what else wants to come through the cards today. Okay, today I am using one of my favorite decks. This is called the World Spirit Tarot, and it's by Lauren O'Leary. This particular deck that I'm working with today is the original first edition of this deck. There's a second edition available, and I believe possibly a third edition coming out sometime this year. Anyway, I love this deck. This is a vintage deck. I started using this deck when it first came out, I believe in about 2001. The thing I really love about this deck is the black border. I feel like it helps me to really focus in on psychic levels a little bit more. And I also love that the symbolism sticks pretty close to the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, and I'm a huge fan of the traditional tarot. So today we're doing a tarot spread specifically for the last quarter moon phase, also known as the waning moon. And as I said, the energy of the waning moon each month naturally supports us in like exhaling, clearing away, releasing, letting go, anything that we're ready to clear away, anything that's no longer feeling useful or aligned or vibrant. So let's take a look in alignment with the last quarter moon in Scorpio, as I said, supporting us in doing some deeper healing, clearing work. This first card that we're going to look at is going to give us a deeper insight as to the energies that surround us now collectively in regard to this waning moon phase. What's the energy that surrounds us now on a collective level? Let's see what wants to come up. Just feeling for the right one here. The Nine of Pentacles. And it is an energy of lavish affluence and abundance. It shows up when there's an air of confidence around our abilities to create, maintain, and sustain not only financial affluence and prosperity, but spiritual self-reliance. Spiritual self-reliance is a sacred wisdom teaching that can indicate an empowerment that comes with having confidence in your own inner guidance, enough confidence in your own inner guidance that you feel self-assured in utilizing your own inner guidance to be your primary tool that leads you forward. The Pentacles are earth energy. It's about being grounded and centered in your physical body, in your physical environment. So it can indicate a type of phase of maturity that we experience in our spiritual growth processes. So the energy that's showing up for us right now, that's surrounding us on a collective level, is an energy that encourages and supports spiritual maturity that in turn leads to confidence in your ability to create, maintain, sustain everything that you need to flourish in your life. And again, it also shows up as a strong message for us to consciously embrace, own, and embody the idea of spiritual self-reliance. Contemplate on that for yourself. What does spiritual self-reliance mean to me? And how can I harness the power of that energy to support me being in my flow state? Mind, body, soul, harmony. This also brings up a message about the quote, laws of manifestation. Manifestation happens when we are in our flow state. We are in harmony, mind, body, spirit. Manifestation is a state of being. So we all have the opportunity this week to be aware of where we are personally at in that journey with ourselves and to optimize it. Next card. What do we need to release collectively in order to be in alignment with our highest path? Judgment. The Judgment card ultimately is the energy of answered prayers. The Judgment card is also a lot about spiritual discernment. And on the challenge aspect, it can be connected to unintentional limitation that we bring ourselves into through self-criticism and self-judgment. And since we're looking at this through the lens of what do we need to let go, clear, release, to shift into our highest frequency, on one level, letting go of self-limiting judgments that we might have going on within us. And it's also perhaps about not doubting our spiritual discernment. It's also living in alignment with our inner truth, our inner guidance. So letting go of anything that clouds that sense of connection with our inner guidance, which a lot of times are our thinking processes, shadow thinking, worries, fears, concerns, what ifs, and all of that. So letting go of all of those things will bring us into our higher vibration, our highest frequency, our highest timeline. Next card, how can we best prepare for the coming new moon? In this deck, they're called Seers of Pentacles, but this would correlate to the Page of Pentacles in a usual tarot deck. And when the Page of Pentacles comes up, it reminds us to reconnect with our passions. I see this and this actually being really aligned with Mars in Capricorn, because Mars again gives us a drive. Capricorn is an earth sign. The pentacles relate to earth. When the Page of Pentacles comes up, it reminds us to reconnect with what our innermost ambitions are and passions are around the things that we do in our life. It can be our career, it can be our work, but it's not limited to that. It's anything that is connected to our sense of life work, our sense of meaning and purpose within our life work. And it's about reconnecting with the meaning and purpose aspect. What do I feel most joy in bringing to the world? So that Mars in Capricorn is, again, giving us a little bit of a diligence, a little bit more of a drive in alignment with what our passions are. And it's being confirmed with this energy coming up. What we need to do is stay centered on what our passions are, what our joys are, and let that be what guides us forward. The next new moon that we're going to have, again, is a little bit of an extra intense new moon, because for those of us living in the Western part of the United States, it's going to be the second new moon of the month, which is a little bit of a rare occurrence, as I spoke of earlier in this episode. So this week, the best thing that we can do to prepare for the re-energizing energy coming up next week is to clear away anything that's clouding your sense of connection with what your true enthusiasms, joys, and passions are, so that when we come into the next new moon, we can really embrace those energies and moving forward. And the last card is overall message from Spirit, the Three of Wands. When the Three of Wands comes up, this is growth-oriented energy. It affirms and confirms that we have already established a solid foundation that we can leverage in alignment with our growth and moving forward. And the Three of Wands compels us in the direction of growth. When we look at the image of the card, the person seems to be somewhat leaping, like there's a little bit of a sense of excitement, a little bit of a sense of celebrating perhaps the first signs that your intentions are blossoming. And it gives us encouragement to continue our journey forward through life. So the overall message from Spirit this week is being in the energy of enthusiasm, being in the energy of celebration and excitement about where you are seeing the first signs of growth based on the intentions that you've already set in motion for yourself this year. And let the energy of that excitement be what you hold and allow to perpetuate. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there for today. As always, there's more videos right around the corner. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one.